What's up everyone, it's Holly, and today I have something really special for you guys. So this channel is mainly dedicated to all of my projects. I like to do tutorials, DIYs, and reviews and what have you. But I've also noticed that sometimes when I get a little bit more personal, you guys respond really well to that. So I thought, why don't I do a series about getting ready for my wedding? It's all happening in just a few short months. We've chosen an awesome destination in Mexico, right on the beach. And I'm really excited to do a couple videos for you guys just talking about the process of getting ready and how we're organizing everything from afar. So to kick off the series, why don't I tell you all about how I got engaged? We moved to Houston about 2 years ago, and I'm the kind of person that when I'm living in a city, I try not to pine over the past or any other places that I've lived. I think this is a coping strategy that I developed as I grew up since we moved so much. I just didn't want to keep reminiscing about the past, and I wanted to focus on the present. It's funny because well over a year ago, Ben started asking me if I wanted to go to LA with him, and I was just like, no, not really. If I'm gonna spend my money, I'd rather go somewhere else. I didn't realize how stubborn I was until, looking back and realizing that he was trying to get me to LA because he wanted to do something special there. But yeah, I mean, meanwhile, we went to Canada, we went to Aruba, we went anywhere and everywhere except for Los Angeles. But as serendipity would have it, he was sent to LA to do a shoot for work. And when he told me he would be there an entire week, I was like, okay, I have to go and see you. I'm obviously not gonna be an entire week without you. So I immediately bought my ticket, and that was that. It's always tough when you go back to somewhere where you lived, because if you don't tell everybody, they're all like, well, why didn't you tell me? And if you tell everybody, you just don't have time to hang out and dedicate solid quality time to each person. So I was kind of keeping it on the down low. I wanted to hang out with a few friends and, spend time at the beach and with Ben. And he just told me, save Saturday night for me. I figured that's easy enough, especially when he offered to take me to my very favorite sushi restaurant that I constantly crave. I was in. So it's Saturday night, we just had sushi. I get absolutely euphoric after I have a good meal, so that's where I was at. I was just like, life couldn't get any more beautiful. I am loving this. My friend Yesenia, who had met up with us, had driven home, and Ben headed back to the hotel. When we got there, I was just ready to curl up into a little ball and, enjoy a comfortable evening indoors. It was a little windy and cold outside, so I was happy to be back inside. But Ben had other plans. This stop at the hotel was actually a detour that he didn't mean to take, but he had to go to the bathroom, which is kind of hilarious. So he had to develop a strategy real quick to get me back out of the hotel and go where he wanted to take me. So he said, hey, let's go to CVS. I'm like, nah, why don't you go? And he's like, oh, why don't you come with me? Luckily, I'm not that hard to convince, and I threw on a sweater or something and some flip-flops, and I headed downstairs. At CVS, I decided to stay in the car, again, being super lazy, and I didn't even notice what he bought. He threw it in the trunk, and we were on our way. And instead of driving back to the hotel, he started driving north on Pacific Coast Highway. But I'm a chill lady. I was like, that's cool. Ben does what he wants. He always has. So we'll see what he has up his sleeve now. I didn't suspect absolutely anything, though. And soon enough, he was stopping at Malibu Cove, which is the location of our very first date back in 2012. We call it our first date. I mean, we had been hanging out. We'd gone to, dinners and whatnot, but this is like the first time that he planned the evening around, hanging out at the beach together. And he bought sleeping bags, and we had, cuddled inside of them and stared up at the stars and just contemplated life together. And so I see him pulling into this exact same place, and I'm like, babe, where are we going? And he's like, oh, you'll see. So we get out of the car, he opens the trunk, and there's a bag with all kinds of different things, blankets, snacks, bottle of champagne. He totally prepared a little midnight snack for us. It was adorable. And so we grabbed everything and start heading to the beach. Now I must mention a caveat here. Paradise Cove closes at night, but they have security guards just monitoring the whole property and preventing anyone from going and accessing their private portion of the beach. I don't know why. It's not like we're gonna steal sand or anything, but they really, really, really guard that place. So 4 years ago when we had gone on our little date, we had gone over on this side. There's like a big old hill, and we had sort of made our way down the hill in the dark and arrived at the beach. Obviously, we tried to do the same thing. Yeah, no. Things do not always remain as they once were. Unfortunately, they had built a huge barricade on this hill, so there was no way that we could go down in the dark secretively. So what we decided to do was stand up straight, grab all our stuff, and walk arm in arm straight past the security guard. And he did not say a thing to us. It was awesome. We acted like we owned that place. So we get to the ocean. The moon is shining so brightly. The ocean is just vast and dark and deep and mysterious. The waves are crashing. They're so loud. Both of our cell phones had lost battery. I don't know why that matters, but I mean, you know, just in case we had wanted to take a picture or something to commemorate, we couldn't have. But it was just perfect. It was a special moment just for him and for me. And we just sat down on the beach like we had 4 years ago and started chatting. He was super curious. He had so many questions for me. He was asking me where I saw us in 5 years. And by the way, I was not going to bring up marriage, okay? That's just my modus operandum. I was not going to ever risk wondering if he only proposed because I pressured him. So I just never talked about it. So obviously when he asked, where do you see us in 5 years? My response was vague, but positive. I said, I think we'll be happy. I think we'll be doing things that we love, working in creative fields, supporting each other, loving each other, more solid than ever. At this point, I was just kind of like, wow, Ben is very curious about, you know, what's going through my head, but I never, ever, ever would have thought that he was planning something else. The questions continued. I honestly don't even remember what else he asked me. We just had a really, really nice conversation and we really were connecting, which is like one of my favorite things in the world, the 5 love languages. Quality time, yes. Words of affirmation, all day, every day. Actually, speaking of words of affirmation, at one point he started spilling his heart out and telling me how much I meant to him, how happy and blessed he felt to have found me, how I had come and changed his life, and how he just couldn't imagine his life without me. And I was, you know, so touched and just feeling so happy. It was such a wonderful, beautiful moment. And somewhere in there, he asked me, will you grow old with me? And I was like, of course I will. And I gave him the hugest hug. But it was like he was kind of awkward. He wasn't really hugging me back. And that's when I pulled back and realized that he was holding a box with the ring glimmering up at me. I was like, oh, and you brought a ring and everything. I could not believe that he had actually planned this whole ordeal. It was such a surreal moment. We were both hugging and laughing and crying and smiling, and it was beautiful. We started talking about ideas and thoughts about the wedding, and I have always known that if I was gonna get married, it would have to be on the beach. So when I asked him, hey, where would you like to get married? And he said, Tulum. I felt like he had read my mind or something. It was amazing. Anyway, if you can't tell, I'm really excited about marrying this man, and I'm really excited about our actual wedding celebration. So hopefully you guys will join me on this journey. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you liked it and if you want to see more of this, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.